Hey guys, it's me, and today I'm finally doing my series review of The Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski. I read all of these books from the library, so I'm gonna pop up a lot of things on the side of the screen, so I'm so sorry. But let's talk Witcher. This is gonna be a spoiler-free review, by the way, so you don't need to leave if you haven't read the books yet. Just start this review off with a basic synopsis of the series. And I've worked on this for a very long time because it's such a hard series to describe, at least for me. So, here we go. So, in this world, basically, like, towards the beginning of the book, a little bit earlier than that, it doesn't happen really in the first book, but there is a war between, like, the elves of, mainly, like, Nilfgaard, but, like, the elves are associated with that, and basically kind of the rest of the world. There are some things that are aligned with Nilfgaard, well, other things aren't, but that's basically how it is. And it turns out that the important figure in this war is Ciri of Sintra. And kind of the problem with Ciri, especially during the first book, is that nobody really knows if she's alive or dead, and if she's alive, where she is, because there's just a lot of legends around her. And yeah, nobody really knows for sure what happened to her, except we do, because we follow Geralt, who is a witcher, and witchers are basically mutated humans who get hired to fight monsters, basically, and make the earth a safe space for everyone. And Geralt, back in the day, kind of made a kind of deal with Ciri's parents, which kind of made it to be that Ciri and Geralt are destined together, and therefore Geralt has taken Ciri under her wings and is training her to become a witcher, as well as noticing that she has some extra powers, and just overall trying to keep her safe from the rest of the world. Chaos ensues! Because it's a long series, that's not that easy. That is honestly the best way I can describe the series, I'm so sorry, but it's difficult. This series, this series consists out of like 3 prequels and then the 5 main book series, and 2 of those prequels are short story collections, and I'm just gonna list them in the order I read them in, which I believe is publication order. So yeah, it's an order I would recommend because I read them that way and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, and that order is The Last Wish, The Sword of Destiny, Blood of Elves, Time of Contempt, Baptism of Fire, Tower of the Swallow, Lady of the Lake, and then Season of Storms. That's the order I read them, but I know Season of Storms you can also read before the main series, and I believe it takes place kind of around the same time as The Last Wish, so you could put that in there as well. But for the rest, I would just say this order is the best order, I believe. It's the order I've seen most people read, so that's what I would recommend. Then for my personal ranking of the main series, because I kind of found it hard to put the short story collections in the ranking, so I decided to just make it of the main series. And yeah, just gonna rank those. Gonna go from the bottom to the top. So number 5, I have The Time of Contempt. Then on 4, I have Blood of Elves. On 3, Lady of the Lake. Then on 2, The Baptism of Fire. And my favorite book of the series is The Tower of the Swallow, which I know it's kind of an unpopular opinion because book 3, Baptism of Fire, is usually seen as the best book in the series, but I prefer Tower of the Swallow. But, yeah. Then let's go into individual reviews of these books, and for this I am including the prequels, but I'm going to go again in the order that I read them in because that's just the easiest for me. And yeah, all of these reviews will be spoiler-free, will just be like a basic thoughts on the books individually, and then I'll wrap it up with an overall series review. I am going to give you a quick warning though, I have a very unpopular opinion about these books, I feel like, because yeah, you'll see. The first book in my reading order is The Last Wish, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars, which is a basic rating for short story collections, don't worry. Kind of what I had with this book is that I had struggles with focusing on certain stories, which I thought was very weird, and at the time I was just like, is it the book or is it me? I can't figure it out what it was that was causing it. But now I mean with the entire series, it's was most likely just the stories. I have a history with these books of just at times just zoning out because it goes on tangents that I wish I didn't. And then For the rest, I thought, like, what I went away with this story collection is that it was a very interesting world and very interesting characters, and I remember just like being excited to explore it more because I just thought it was very interesting. And also I really liked the stories in it. I thought they often went on with interesting concepts, especially in The Last Wish. A lot of them, at least from what I remember, are kind of like fairy tale based. So in the short stories, you'll be able to recognize some of the classic fairy tales, and I thought that was really cool. And I think Andrzej Sapkowski did like a great twist on those. Moving on to sort of a Destiny, which I also give 2 out of 5 stars. Again, basic rating for story collections because I individually rate every story, and then my rating for the collection is like an average. And usually like run it up or run it down is usually 3 star. So yeah. So this book really solidified my love for the characters in the world, because still after reading the entire series, I still stand by my opinion. This world and these characters are super strong, and I love them, and I would love to read more about them and like learn more about them. So yeah, after this book, I just thought that the short stories weren't really working for me because I don't know, it felt very episodic, and I didn't really for some reason it wasn't really clicking with me completely. So yeah, this book just left me very excited to finally read a full-length book because I thought it was gonna go better. We'll see about that in a minute. And yeah, I thought especially this book had a lot of great discussions surrounding destiny, because I don't know, there's just a lot of talk about like destiny and if it's a real thing and what is destiny and stuff, and I thought it played with that really well and left some room for thought as well, and I really like that. Then getting into the main series, I have Blood of Elves, which I also give 3 out of 5 stars. It's gonna be a team. I was slightly disappointed with this one. I just feel like this book had a lot of setup. There was a lot of training of Siri. There was a lot of planning for the war, and just like a lot of plotting, scheming, and training and stuff, but not really a lot actual happening, which just felt like a drag quite a bit. And yeah, it was just kind of sad. I do think that eventually what it set up was very interesting. I just think it was just like too much at once, and I feel like it could have been spread out a little bit better over the series in general. Those are just like some things that I don't think we should know that detailed about. So like I said, there were some scenes that I really loved, and like chapters I really loved, and I liked what it was setting up, and I was very excited to like actually get into that story that it was setting up. The next book is The Time of Contempt, which again gives 3 out of 5 stars, and I believe I ranked last. Yes, that's because this book was rough for me. I just I don't know. Again, I don't know if this was just a problem I had with these books, or it's an overarching problem, but I just had a very hard time orienting myself in this book. Just that I would very frequently switch perspectives, and often it would switch to perspective of a new character that we had never even heard about, and all of a sudden we were supposed to know everything about it because like we weren't told who this person was, where in time we were, where in the world we were, and it was very confusing, and yeah, I was just disoriented and I couldn't really grasp the story that well because of it, but it was just rough and jarring, and I don't know, it didn't vibe with that well. And also this book didn't really have an overarching plot for the book itself. And I don't know, that kind of bothered me because I just felt like we were doing nothing most of the time. And yeah. The next book is The Baptism of Fire, which I again give 3 stars, but I like significantly more than book 1 and 2. This book, I immediately noticed after reading the second one that this one had a coherent plot and everything worked together. Just the perspective switches was much more obvious to me. Maybe it was because I read 2 books of it and I got more used to how it was done, or maybe it was just done more clearly. I don't know, because I feel like this book and the next one switch perspectives a lot, and it goes very fast paced, and I feel like those 2 books should be the ones where I would get tripped up by what's going on, but I feel like it just worked really well, and it flowed very well. And I feel like Andrzej Sapkowski really thought through when he was going to change perspectives and how. And yeah, I don't really have anything to complain about that one for this. I also like that this book spent more time with the main characters than other books, at least from what I remember. Because that's kind of my problem with this entire series, is that I feel like at points it just isn't enough focus on the main characters, which I'll talk about more later again. I feel like this book did a really good job at like balancing stuff, but still there were parts where I was bored because I feel like what Sapkowski does is just explain certain things that don't really matter that much and like go on like a rampage for like 3 pages on them, and just like, I mean, I could have done with a little bit of explanation because it was interesting, but like 2 paragraphs maybe, but like 3 pages or more, no thank you. As well as just like some outsider perspectives that I wasn't really vibing with. By the way, I'm playing with my water bottle, that's the noise. I did think that this book took the series in an interesting direction, and after reading the first 2 books I was kind of a little bit scared for the rest of the series. Like, I wanted to finish it because I wanted to know what hype was about, but after the first 2 books I was kind of like, oh, I don't think this is for me. And then after this book I was like, okay, we're going in a direction that is actually very interesting and I'm really enjoying. So yeah, and that's when we arrive to the Tower of the Soul, which is my favorite book in the series, and I'll stand by that because I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This one had the perspective switching even more down than the third one, and it flowed so nicely, and I think it did some very interesting things with that. So very captivating, which is the first book I've had with it, because all of the books have been pretty fast reads for me, but like this one I generally didn't want to put down. Like the other ones I just read too quickly because they were easy to read for me, but this one I didn't want to put down. I just wanted to keep reading. I wanted to know where the story was going, and I actually ended up loving where the story ended up going. I still had those moments where I just went off the rails a little bit, but it was just like, okay, I don't really care, and that's why it's not a 5-star. But like this is the good stuff. I wanted more books like this one because I don't know, everything just flowed so nicely. It was balanced very nicely, and everything felt like it had a purpose. Like most of it felt like it had a purpose, which I feel like a lot of the times in a series I didn't really have. Then we have arrived to the last book of the main series, which is Lady of the Lake, which I sadly enough give 2 out of 5 stars again. I was so excited for this book after the 4th one. I'm just like, yes, we're gonna plow into that last book and we're gonna like fight through it. We're gonna have the best time of our lives, and I didn't. I still really enjoyed this book, and I think it is a great conclusion to the series, especially when it comes to our main characters, which are Siri, Jennifer, and Gerald. When it comes to those 3, like I feel like they had a satisfying send-off, and I really liked it. I liked where the stories ended up going. I also liked that it was a little bit open-ended, but still like satisfyingly wrapped up enough. I don't know, it feels more realistic to me when there's a couple of loose ends, because in the real world also not everything was just like wrapped up in a nice little bow. And yeah, I like that this book as well. I think also it took the story in a very interesting direction. It introduced like a new element, which is, I always feel it's dangerous to introduce late into a series like a new important element, because I don't care usually, but I think this book did something really great and I really liked it. Again, the main problem I had with this book is that when it came to like the war and like politics stuff, we experienced it all from like an outsider's perspective. Not really an outsider perspective, but like there's a character that we're introduced to and we follow their perspective throughout this book, but before this book we only had like one very small scene with him, and now all of a sudden he's supposed to be the person that leads us into war. I mean, couldn't you have given us like a character we care about? Because I do think that eventually what happened with the war is very interesting, because it happened with it was told through the perspective of a character I just didn't care about. I also ended up not really caring about what happened in the war, which, yeah, I feel like could have put a character we knew better in there, so that it would just be a little bit more interesting and, I don't know, captivating. I don't really know. I wasn't really that interested in that part because it was told from a perspective we didn't know, and I think that's sad. And I also feel like this is a very big book, but like I feel like we spent such a short time with our main characters, which again in the main 3 I talked about. I feel like we check in with them in the beginning, we get a little bit of them in the middle, and then we have them at the end. But like most of the book we're like not there. I'm just like, I'm reading this for Gerald, Jennifer, and Siri. Where are they? Like, I want to know. It comes to those other characters that are kind of like aligned to those 3 that I also care about, but like they just, yeah. And then we've arrived to the last book, which is Season of Storms, which is technically you could read it earlier, but I read it last because it was published last. And I didn't give this a 1 star. I'm sorry. But basically, my 1 stars are books absolutely loaded, and then books I just didn't register that just, for some reason, couldn't get through my brain. Like, I read every single word, but then still somehow, like, nothing is, like, saving up here. And this was one of those books. Like, honestly, the loaded one, I only have 1 star that I absolutely hate it with all my being. And it's not this one. Nothing registered up here. And I don't know why. Like, I've had moments in the Witcher series that I was a little bit more bored, but it always registered. Like, everything came true. But this book didn't at all. That's so strange because I even went back at a couple of points to just be like, is it me? Am I just not in the right mood? So I went back and I was just like, no, it's still not. No, nothing is registering. Okay, registering nothing here. That's just kind of sad. I do think this book had a great balance of main character and side character stuff. Like, in all, like, the perspectives were so well balanced, and we spent so much time like the main character of the story, and I just like that. I thought I'd mention it because it's a complaint I have with the series, and it was less better than this book. And yeah, I don't think the story needs to be told there. This basically is about Gerald's swords being stolen, and he has to get them back, but other stuff happened as well. And I don't really think this needs to be told. I think there were so many more interesting stories from this world that you could have told. I can give you a list of like things I'm interested in seeing from this world. Like, I want to know more about, and this just wasn't it. And sometimes this is usually what happens with spin-offs. It's never what you want, but sometimes it can still be satisfying. Be like, okay, I get the point of this, which I didn't really have with this book. It might be because I didn't register anything of it, but just like in general, I just felt like, why am I doing this? Like, what's really the point? We're not really learning new things, and it's a prequel, so like all the stakes are gone because we know obviously that Gerald survives, because otherwise how would he show up in book 1? So I don't know. I felt like there was nothing really that pulled me into the story as well. So we finally arrived to the overall thoughts, and I think you can kind of get my vibe with the series because I'm very consistent throughout the books. I feel like, okay, I definitely get why this is so popular and loved, why so many people love this book, like the series, because I think it's very well crafted, especially like those later books where I got more maybe familiar with the way it was written and the perspectives were switched. I definitely recognize the brilliance in that, like how stuff were pieced together and how the subject of like storytelling was a part of it, and I really like that. And also just like I said, from the beginning, from like the first story collection, is this world and these characters are so interesting, and I don't know, I think it's all very well done, and I definitely get why you would love this. I just personally had the issue of not caring about those side characters, and I do know some people really like that because it expands the world and learns more. But I'm just like, I just want to experience the story. I don't really need to know about this random person on the other side of the world and what they're doing. So yeah, especially that never comes back, because that's also what happened. It would just never come back, and I'm just like, what are we doing? It also has some like fairy tale aspects of it, which I know this series gets criticized for a lot. They just do fairy tale aspects, but I really like that aspect of it actually. Basically, my only problem is just the tirades. I call them rants, but some people, like I said, some people love that stuff. I personally don't, and yeah, and I still, if other spin-offs of the series would come out, and they sound interesting, I will check them out, because like I said, I really like this world, and I think there's so much potential for like other side stories that in this world. So yeah, I would still highly recommend this series, especially if you're a fantasy fan. If you haven't read this yet, I was gonna say I think that's weird, but also at the same time, most fantasy booktubers I follow haven't read the series yet in its entirety. So, but I do think it's worth your time, especially if you love a more expansive world. I think you really like this series. Personally, I just don't think it really works that well for me, but I can recognize every single bit of brilliance in it because it's really great. So yeah, that was my review of the Witcher series. It didn't end up being that long as I expected, so that's great because I'm sick right now. My throat hurts, so not being that long is fantastic for me. And yeah, basically that's my review of The Witcher. If you've read the series, let me know in the comments below your thoughts on them. And feel free to go into like spoiler details. Just leave a spoiler warning at the top so people who haven't read the series yet know not to read your comments. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Good.